Hello everyone and welcome to the lecture on AWS Data Exchange. So this lecture will contain all these topics. What is AWS Data Exchange? Data grants in AWS Data Exchange. What is an AWS marketplace data product? Open data on AWS. Data in AWS Data Exchange. So what is AWS Data Exchange? AWS Data Exchange is a service that facilitates easy sharing and management of data entitlements from other organizations at scale. It streamlines the process of data exchange between different entities. As a data receiver, you can efficiently track and manage all your data grants and AWS marketplace data subscriptions in a centralized location. This consolidation simplifies data management and enhances accessibility. When you have access to an AWS Data Exchange dataset, you can leverage compatible AWS or partner analytics and machine learning tools. This capability allows you to extract valuable insights from the data, enhancing your ability to make data-driven decisions. For data centers, AWS Data Exchange eliminates the need to build and maintain data delivery and entitlement infrastructure. This reduction in infrastructure requirements can lead to a significant cost savings and operational efficiencies. Anyone with an AWS account can easily create and send data grants to data receivers. This feature democratizes data sharing, making it accessible to a wide range of users and organizations. Data centers have the opportunity to monetize their data by selling it as a product on AWS Marketplace. However, it's important to follow the provided guidelines to determine eligibility for selling data products. AWS Data Exchange also provides access to publicly available datasets through the Open Data on AWS program. This feature is available to anyone, regardless of whether they have an AWS account, promoting open access to valuable data resources. So, in summary, Data Exchange is a place where buyers and sellers can sell their data products. So, they would have probably done some kind of data cleansing or some kind of enhancement or whatever, and that can be sold and bought on AWS Marketplace through this service called AWS Data Exchange. So, data grants in AWS Data Exchange. A data grant is the fundamental unit of exchange in AWS Data Exchange. It is the mechanism through which data senders provide data receivers access to specific data sets. The process begins when a data sender creates a data grant. This action generates a grant request that is sent to the data receiver's AWS account. To gain access to the underlying data, the data receiver must accept this data grant. A data grant consists of three main parts. First one, dataset. This is a resource curated by the sender containing the data assets and that the receiver will be able to access after accepting the grant. Then data grant details. This includes a name and description of the data grant, which will be visible to data receivers. And thirdly, recipient access details. This specifies the receiver's AWS account ID and the duration for which the receiver should have access to the data. AWS Data Exchange supports 5 different types of datasets. First one, files, which is the traditional file-based datasets. Next is API, which is data accessible through API endpoints. Amazon Redshift, data stored in Amazon Redshift data warehouses. Amazon S3, data stored in Amazon Simple Storage Service buckets. And AWS Lake Formation, data managed through AWS Lake Formation. So next we'll see what is an AWS Marketplace data product. So we have seen data grant. Finally, what is the whole product? So our data product is the fundamental unit of data exchange in AWS Marketplace, published by providers for subscribers to use. It's specifically a product that includes AWS Data Exchange datasets. These products are unique in that they incorporate datasets from AWS Data Exchange, making them valuable resources for data-driven applications and analysis. Before a data product is listed in AWS Marketplace product catalog, it undergoes a review process by AWS This review ensures compliance with AWS guidelines and terms and conditions, maintaining quality and reliability. Each published product is assigned a unique product ID, which allows for easy identification and management within AWS Marketplace ecosystem. Our data product consists of three main parts. First one, product details. This includes the product name, short and long descriptions, data samples, our logo image, and support contact information. The provider is responsible for completing these details. Then product offers. These define the terms subscriber agree to when subscribing to a product. Providers must create a public offer to list the product in the AWS Marketplace catalog. Offers include prices, durations, data subscription agreement, refund policy, and options for custom offers. And thirdly, datasets. A product can include one or more datasets. These are the resources curated by the data provider, containing the data assets that a receiver can access after accepting a data grant. Now next we'll see open data on AWS. So the program overview. This is a collection of over 300 plus free publicly available datasets accessible through AWS Marketplace and includes no cost and paid products. So affiliated programs. So this has affiliation from Open Data sponsorship program, and this covers storage cost for high value cloud optimized datasets. Amazon Sustainability Data Initiative. So this one minimizes cost and time for acquiring large sustainability datasets. So it's part of Amazon Sustainability Data Initiative, ASDI. So talking about accessibility, it is searchable by anyone. You don't need any AWS account or sign in or sign up. There is no subscription which is required. So usage, you can analyze and build services on top of these datasets. You can utilize AWS compute and data analytics services. So these include EC2, Athena, Lambda, and Amazon EMR. So when you use this service, you have to pay, but the data itself on open data platform is free to use by anyone. But you can link it with, if you have AWS account, you can link it and you can start researching or analyzing those open data datasets. So this is how it looks like. If you just search Google open data on AWS, you will come to this particular page, and if you this is just the like overview. If you click this link, find publicly available data on AWS. If you click, you will be shown a page like this. You can search and all, but on the first page you will see all the open data datasets. So you can click any of them and go through it. And so it talks about like free, right? Pricing model is, so we can see 535. And what are the dataset types? You can have Amazon S3 objects, and you have other one like open data sponsorship programs and sustainability initiative data initiatives and contract type. So you can see all this information and you can filter it out. So I have clicked one of the links. So that data is about Radasa COVID-19 open data. So if I just go through it, it will have information where it's located, how to use it, so all this information you can get from this AWS open data program website. Okay, next we will talk about data in AWS Data Exchange. So data is organized in AWS Data Exchange, and the building blocks for organizing data is an asset, which is a piece of data; revisions, which is a container for one or more assets; and datasets, which is series of one or more revisions. So lowest unit is assets, then you have revisions, and finally datasets. So these building blocks form the foundation of the product managed using AWS Data Exchange console or API. So assets, so we have seen I have already covered, like it can be one of the assets, can be one of the type. S3 AWS lake formation, Redshift dataset, REST API, S3 file, and local computer file or files, can say in general. Next, talking more about assets in AWS Data Exchange. So asset type defines how data is delivered to the receiver or subscriber. So asset sources, so again local computer file, Amazon S3 file, a file stored on S3 bucket, REST API, a REST API created in Amazon API gateway. So sometime you as a provider you want to expose some REST API through API gateways, so the data is dynamic, so whoever wants to buy that data, they can always get the latest, and you can provide some kind of transformation through the REST API because you will be exposing the API through the API gateway. Then Amazon Redshift dataset, AWS Lake Formation data permission, and Amazon S3 data access dataset. So these are the these can be the assets. Next, we'll see what is the revision in detail. So as I talked about, it's a container for one or more assets. So the usage is the purpose is used to update data in Amazon S3, so that you have different revisions. So you can like a version numbers. So example, so grouping a collection of .csv files or a single CSV file and a dictionary, and you can have different versions. Process, you create revisions and add assets as new data becomes available. So you add assets and you create new revisions, so you can point out your subscriber or the receivers to which revision to refer to. And talking about availability, it's immediately available to subscribers after creation and finalization using AWS Data Exchange console. So there are few finalization requirements. Content, a revision must contain at least one asset. So there should be one asset, means let's say it's a file, let's say. So there should be at least one file so that it can be revision or version number can be provided. And ensure assets are correct before finalizing the revision. A finalized revision published to at least one data grant or product cannot be unfinalized or changed except through the revoke revision process. So this is to make sure it's immutable. So you can create a newer version, but once you have finalized that version is immutable. And about publication, so after finalization, the revision is automatically published to data grants or products. So data grants are basically you have data granted to already some receiver, so it will automatically publish to the somebody who has already subscribed, or if it's part of a product. Next, data sets in AWS Data Exchange, which is a collection of data that can change over time. So let's say files dataset. Access, recipients or subscriber access a specific revision in the dataset, and the benefit is enable providers to change data over time without affecting historical data. So this is the simplest form. And then you have API dataset. It contains API assets, and the functionality is enable subscriber to make API calls to AWS Data Exchange managed endpoint. So AWS Data Exchange will have managed endpoints for subscribers to get or fetch the information, and it is proxied to provider endpoints. Then you have Amazon Redshift dataset. Recipients or subscriber access the AWS Data Exchange data share for Amazon Redshift. Permissions provide read-only access to schemas, tables, views, user-defined functions added by the data owner. So it provides a read-only access, and you can use regular Redshift tools to access this information. Then AWS Lake Formation data permission dataset. Recipients or subscribers access databases, tables, and or columns tagged with an lake formation tag specified by the dataset owner. So lake formation is basically you have a big S3 based lake, and you can provide data access to that. And then Amazon S3 data access dataset. Recipients or subscribers granted read-only access to shared Amazon S3 objects in providers bucket. So this is you provide the access to objects. Data can usage data can be used directly with other AWS services. So in this case, if they have other AWS services, once you have granted access to your S3 objects, they can start using by just referring, because they have the necessary permission to use that. And that's all. Thanks for watching.